I'm taking everything, you get nothing. Marcus sneered, tossing his coffee mug into the sink with enough force to chip it. I stood in our kitchen, the morning sunlight streaming through the windows we picked up together, watching my husband of 8 years pack the last of his things. My name is Olivia, and at 35, I was witnessing the end of my marriage in real time. Marcus, once the loving man who promised to grow old with me, was now a stranger consumed by his midlife crisis and his new girlfriend, Amber. You're making a mistake, I said calmly, my voice steadier than I felt. We should handle this properly through lawyers. He laughed, that cruel, dismissive sound I'd grown familiar with over the past few months. Lawyers? Why? So you can try to take half of what I've built? I don't think so, Olivia. I've already emptied our joint accounts. Good luck proving what's yours and what's mine. I watched him swagger around our kitchen, his confidence fueled by what he thought was a brilliant plan. He had no idea that I'd been preparing for this moment for nearly a year, ever since I found the first suspicious charge on our credit card statement. At least let's discuss this rationally. I attempted one last time, though I knew it was futile. Marcus was too far gone, too convinced of his own cleverness. There's nothing to discuss, he spat, checking his phone as another text from Amber lit up his screen. I'm moving in with Amber. She understands me, supports my dreams. Unlike you, who's been holding me back all these years. I thought about the promotion I turned down 3 years ago so he could take that job in Seattle. About the countless nights I'd stayed up helping him prepare presentations, the weekends spent networking with his colleagues, the dreams I'd put on hold to support his ambitions. Is that what you really think? I asked, maintaining my composure. That I held you back? Look at you, he gestured dismissively. Still so calm, so controlled. This is exactly why I'm leaving. You're like a robot, Olivia. No passion, no fire. Amber makes me feel alive. Ah, yes. Amber. The 24-year-old personal trainer who'd caught my husband's eye at his gym 6 months ago. Young, exciting Amber, who had no idea that Marcus had done this before, with his previous wife, 10 years ago. I see, I said, taking a sip of my coffee. And you're sure about this? About leaving without any formal separation or divorce agreement? Absolutely, he grinned, pulling his designer suitcase toward the door. You'll be hearing from me once I'm settled. Maybe I'll let you keep some furniture. As he reached for the door handle, I couldn't help but smile. You might want to rethink that, Marcus. He paused, turning back with an annoyed expression. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I shrugged. Just that actions have consequences. His face darkened. Is that a threat? Are you threatening me? Not at all. I'm simply stating a fact. You might want to check the actual balance of those accounts you emptied. For the first time that morning, uncertainty flickered across his face. He pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen as he checked his banking app. I watched as the color drained from his face. What? What did you do? He stammered. Me? Nothing. But it seems the bank has some concerns about recent unusual activity on our accounts. They might have frozen things temporarily. Standard procedure, you understand. You bid. Careful, I cut him off. You wouldn't want to add verbal abuse to the documentation, would you? He stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows. I waited until I heard his car screech out of the driveway before pulling out my own phone. Hello, Detective Morgan. Yes, he just left. Exactly as we predicted. Yes, I have the recordings and bank statements ready. And the footage from the security cameras? Perfect. 3 days, you said. I'll be ready. I hung up and walked to our home office, my office now, opening the safe hidden behind my collection of true crime novels, books Marcus had always mocked me for reading. I pulled out a thick file. Inside was a year's worth of evidence, bank statements showing his gradual siphoning of our accounts, photos of him and Amber taken by the PI I'd hired, records of the offshore account he thought I didn't know about, and most importantly, proof of his systematic embezzlement from his company's client accounts. Marcus thought he was so clever, so careful. He never realized that his first wife had contacted me 6 months ago, warning me that he'd done the same to her. By then, I'd already started gathering evidence, but her information helped me know exactly where to look. I sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, and began composing an email to his company's board of directors. In 3 days, Marcus's carefully constructed house of cards would come crashing down. But for now, I had work to do. The next 3 days passed in a blur of calculated moves and carefully orchestrated steps. Marcus's angry texts and voicemails piled up, each one more desperate than the last. Unfreeze the accounts, Olivia. You have no right to do this. I swear you'll regret this. I forwarded each message to Detective Morgan, adding to the growing pile of evidence. Meanwhile, Amber had taken to social media, posting about their perfect love story and how Marcus was escaping his toxic marriage. Each post was carefully documented and archived by my lawyer. On the morning of the third day, I sat in Detective Morgan's office, reviewing the final details. The stern-faced detective spread out the documents across her desk, nodding approvingly. The evidence is solid, she said, tapping a folder containing bank statements. Your husband's been embezzling money for years, using client accounts as his personal piggy bank. When did you first notice? I smiled faintly. The numbers never quite added up. Marcus thought because I was just a housewife, I wouldn't understand complex financial transactions. He forgot I used to work in forensic accounting. Detective Morgan raised an eyebrow, a fact he's about to regret overlooking. My phone buzzed, another message from Marcus. Babe, let's talk about this. We can work something out. Call me. He's getting nervous, I observed. Has the board received my email? They're meeting right now, Detective Morgan confirmed. The evidence you provided about the embezzlement was comprehensive. The arrest warrant has been issued. We're moving in within the hour. I thought about Marcus and Amber, probably lounging in their luxury hotel suite, planning their future with money stolen from innocent clients. Money he'd moved through our joint accounts, thinking he was being clever by making me an unwitting accomplice. You know, Detective Morgan said, studying my face, most people in your situation would have just filed for divorce when they discovered the affair. I shook my head. This isn't about the affair. It's about justice. Those clients trusted him with their money. He betrayed that trust, just like he betrayed our marriage vows. My phone lit up with a call from an unknown number. Marcus's first wife, Diana. Olivia? Her familiar voice came through. It's happening. The board just fired him. My friend in HR said they're cooperating fully with the police. Thank you, Diana, I said softly, for everything, for warning me, for helping me understand his patterns. We both deserve better, she replied. I just wish I'd been brave enough to stop him sooner. After hanging up, I checked my email. The board had copied me on their formal statement. Marcus was being terminated for gross misconduct, and all clients would be notified of the ongoing investigation. Detective Morgan stood up, straightening her jacket. Ready? I nodded, gathering my things. We had arranged for me to be at the police station when they brought him in. I wanted to see his face when he realized just how completely his plan had backfired. The drive to the station felt surreal. Through social media updates, I could track Marcus and Amber's last moments of freedom. She had just posted a poolside selfie with the caption, "Living our best life with my soulmate. #TrueLove, #New Beginnings." If only she knew. My phone rang again. Marcus. This time I answered. Olivia, please, he began, his voice urgent. Whatever you think you know, you're wrong. I can explain everything. Can you explain the $2.3 million missing from client accounts? I asked calmly, or the offshore transfers, or the fake investment reports. Silence. How did you? Goodbye, Marcus. I believe the police will be there soon. I suggest you answer their questions truthfully. It might help reduce your sentence. I hung up as we pulled into the police station parking lot. Detective Morgan led me to a waiting area with a view of the entrance. It won't be long now, she assured me. She was right. Within 30 minutes, the station burst into activity. Through the glass doors, I watched as officers led Marcus in, handcuffed and disheveled. Behind him, a tearful Amber was being escorted separately, her mascara running down her face. Our eyes met as they led him past the waiting area. The shock on his face when he saw me sitting there, calm and composed, was almost comical. Gone was the arrogant man who'd sneered at me 3 days ago. In his place was a pale, frightened version of my husband, finally facing the consequences of his actions. Mrs. Wilson. A young officer approached me. We'll need your official statement now. I stood up, smoothing my skirt. Of course. I have everything documented, organized by date, with supporting evidence for each incident. As I followed the officer to an interview room, I heard Marcus's voice echo down the hallway. Olivia, Olivia, please. Tell them this is a mistake. But I kept walking. Some mistakes I'd learned weren't meant to be fixed. They were meant to be exposed. 6 months after Marcus's arrest, I sat in my newly renovated home office, reviewing the final divorce settlement. The morning sun streamed through windows that no longer held any painful memories, just promise. The trial had been swift and decisive. With the mountain of evidence I'd gathered, along with Diana's testimony about his previous schemes, Marcus had no choice but to plead guilty. 8 years of fraud and embezzlement earned him 15 years in prison. His attempts to blame me for the missing money fell apart under scrutiny. Amber, it turned out, hadn't known about the fraud, but she happily spent the stolen money. She was ordered to return everything she'd received from Marcus. The last I heard, she'd moved back in with her parents, her social media dreams of luxury living shattered. My phone buzzed with a text from Diana. Just saw the news about the settlement. Congratulations. Coffee next week. We'd become unlikely friends, bonded by our shared experience. She'd rebuilt her life after Marcus, showing me it was possible to thrive after such betrayal. Now it was my turn. The doorbell rang, my lawyer arriving with the final paperwork. Everything's settled, she announced, spreading documents across my desk. The judge was particularly impressed with your documentation. The divorce is final, and you're completely cleared of any involvement in the fraud. Plus, since Marcus used joint accounts for his schemes, you're entitled to a significant portion of his legitimate assets. I signed where indicated, each stroke of the pen feeling like freedom. What about the restitution to the clients? The recovered funds have been returned. Your cooperation with the investigation was crucial in tracking down the money. Several clients have actually reached out, wondering if you'd consider helping them manage their accounts in the future. I smiled, thinking about the forensic accounting career I'd abandoned to support Marcus. Maybe it's time to get back into the field. After my lawyer left, I walked through the house that was now truly mine. I'd redecorated, erasing traces of Marcus and creating a space that reflected who I was, not who he'd wanted me to be. The media had been fascinated by the case, the calculating fraudster, the young girlfriend, the wife who quietly gathered evidence for a year before bringing it all crashing down. They wanted interviews, book deals, TV, appearances. I declined them all. This wasn't about fame or revenge, it was about justice. My phone rang. Detective Morgan. Just checking in, she said warmly. The DA wanted you to know that your case has inspired other fraud investigations. People are learning to pay attention to the warning signs. That makes it worth it, I replied. How's Marcus adjusting to prison? Not well, she chuckled. Apparently luxury jumpsuits aren't his style. He's still insisting you set him up. Of course he is. Marcus never could accept responsibility for his actions. After we hung up, I opened my laptop to find an email from Marcus's former company. They were offering me a position heading their new internal audit department. Apparently, my handling of Marcus's case had impressed the board. Life had a strange way of coming full circle. Marcus had always belittled my career aspirations, insisting I focus on supporting his dreams instead. Now his downfall had opened doors I thought were permanently closed. Diana's words from months ago echoed in my mind. We both deserved better. She was right. We deserved better than a man who viewed marriage as a convenience and wives as accessories to be upgraded when they became too knowing, too wise to his schemes. I picked up the framed news article on my desk, the one announcing Marcus's conviction. Not out of spite, but as a reminder that I was stronger than I'd known, smarter than he'd given me credit for, and capable of rebuilding my life on my own terms. Opening my calendar, I scheduled lunch with Diana for next week. Then I began drafting a response to the job offer. It was time to step back into the world of numbers and ledgers, this time using my skills to prevent others from being deceived as I had been. The setting sun cast long shadows across my office as I finished my workday. In the quiet of evening, I felt no regret, no lingering anger, just peace. Marcus had thought he was taking everything from me, but in trying to leave me with nothing, he'd actually given me the push I needed to reclaim everything. My career, my confidence, and my future. I closed my laptop and smiled. Sometimes the best revenge isn't plotting and scheming. It's simply making sure justice is served, and then moving forward to build a better life than you had before. Marcus thought he was writing the end of my story. Instead, he'd only written the end of his own.